He was a voice for the voiceless, a beacon of truth in one of India's most dangerous regions. Mukesh Chandrakar's journey from a humble village to the forefront of investigative journalism was nothing short of remarkable, but his bravery came at a cost that has left a community grieving and a nation demanding answers. Today we dive into his life, his passion, and the tragic events that ended it. Welcome to Crime Pod, where we unravel the most gripping true crime stories from around the world. I'm your host Safa, and here we don't just tell you what happened, we dive deep into the life and struggles of those involved, the complexities of their environments, and the ripples their stories leave behind. Today's episode takes us to Chhattisgarh, India, where journalist Mukesh Chandrakar's fight for truth ended in a tragedy that has shaken the media and the nation alike. Let's begin by understanding the man behind the headlines. Mukesh Chandrakar was born on July 4, 1991 in the small village of Basugada in Chhattisgarh's Bijapur district. His childhood was shaped by hardship and resilience. Displaced by Naxal violence, Mukesh's family sought refuge in a government shelter. He lost his father at a young age and was raised by his mother, an Anganwadi worker who struggled to provide for her two sons. Mukesh's elder brother Yukesh became a source of inspiration working as a freelance journalist. Tragedy struck again in 2013 when Mukesh's mother passed away from cancer. Despite these immense challenges, Mukesh completed his schooling in Dantewada, working odd jobs like collecting mawa flowers and repairing vehicles to support his family. To understand Mukesh's journey, we need to understand Bastar. This mineral-rich region is at the heart of India's Red Corridor, plagued by a decades-long Maoist insurgency. Here, life is marked by the constant threat of violence, a power struggle between insurgents, security forces, and powerful corporations. It is a place where even basic necessities are scarce, and journalists risk their lives to tell the truth. This is the environment Mukesh chose to report from, fearlessly and relentlessly. While his elder brother was surely an inspiration, Mukesh found journalism through conversation with friends and began working in the field in 2013. He learned the craft on the job, observing experienced reporters and building his skills step by step. Over time, he worked with established media outlets like Sahara Samay, Network 18 and NDTV. But his true breakthrough came with his YouTube channel Bastar Junction. With over 165,000 subscribers, Mukesh used the platform to highlight issues often ignored by mainstream media. From villagers crossing rivers with groceries due to absence of bridges, to innocent people caught in the crossfires of the insurgents and police, Mukesh's stories give a voice to the unheard. We can know Mukesh's dedication by this incident that in year 2021, when Naxalites kidnapped Officer Rakeshwar Singh Minhas, who was the part of 210th Cobra Battalion, no one dared to enter in that region for his release. But Mukesh was among a group of 7 journalists who helped security forces negotiate with Maoist to release him, and was also seen taking that officer on his bike from that area. This is not the only incident. He even helped in the release of a sub-engineer from Naxalites. On December 25, 2024, his report was aired on NDTV, exposing corruption in a road project in Bijapur. This report implicated none other than his own cousin Suresh Chandrakar, the contractor responsible for this project, after which the government initiated an inquiry. But Mukesh's dedication to uncovering the truth came at a price. On January 1, 2025, Mukesh went missing. His brother Yukesh filed a missing person report the very next day. After frantic searching and mobile tracking, his location was traced at a farmhouse in Chatanpara, Bijapur. This farmhouse was none other than Mukesh's cousin Suresh Chandrakar's. When he was called by police to ask about Mukesh, he simply told them that there's a dispute between him and Mukesh, so they didn't talk, and moreover, he is at his in-laws, so he doesn't know where Mukesh is. But Yukesh was suspicious about the location Google Map was showing. So the next day, he along with police and some journalists again visited that farmhouse. But the journalist found it very odd that a newly made septic tank didn't have a lid. This made them suspicious, so they asked police to open it. Around 3 pm, the septic tank was opened, but what they found inside they couldn't have imagined. Mukesh's dead body was there. The post-mortem report revealed horrific details. Mukesh had been attacked with a heavy object, suffering fatal injuries to his head, chest, back and stomach. His body was identified by a tattoo on his hand. The discovery of Mukesh's body sent shockwaves across India. The Press Association and Editors Guild of India condemned the murder, calling for stronger protections for journalists. An 11-member special investigation team was formed and 3 arrests were made, including Suresh Chandrakar and 2 other relatives. But questions lingered. Allegations flew between political parties, with each accusing the other of shielding the accused. It all began with Deputy Chief Minister Vijay Sharma, also the state's Home Minister, who alleged that the main accused, Suresh Chandrakar, was affiliated with the Indian National Congress and brought into question the party's growing links to recent criminal cases. However, Congress retorted by claiming that Suresh had recently joined the Bharatiya Janata Party and demanded that Sharma release the CCTV footage from Chandrakar's visit to Sharma's CM residence days before the murder. But who is this Suresh Chandrakar? Why he killed Mukesh and how? Let's dive into that. 42 years old Suresh Chandrakar, as I told you earlier, is the cousin of Mukesh Chandrakar and has 2 brothers, Ritesh and Dinesh Chandrakar. His father was a serving constable in moist-affected Basugada. At start, he was working as a cook in a police officer's house. Suresh was later hired as an SPO in the Salwa Judum, a government-sponsored militia established to counter Maoist in Chhattisgarh. When Salwa Judum was banned in 2011 by a Supreme Court ruling, Suresh, a school dropout, started taking small-scale building contracts. In November of 2015, Suresh got his major break. He got a government contract for a 32.4 km section of the Nelsnar Gangula Road for 52 crores. He also got 2 other projects of 13 and 19 crores respectively. As no one was taking those projects because of it being an area affected by Maoist insurgency, so the project cost shot up to Rs 141 crores. Suresh indulged in corruption. Instead of completing those projects on time, he took all the money and spent it on his lavish lifestyle. When he got married in 2021, it became the talk of the town. A private helicopter to transport his wife to foreign dancers performing at the wedding. He spent almost 10 crores on his wedding. It was a wedding like never before, and rumors of Suresh corruption began to surface. Media reports this as the reason for which Suresh became angry on Mukesh, because he thought that Mukesh is the one who is behind all these rumors. But when the news of Nelsnar Kotri Road corruption aired on NDTV on 25th of December 2024, Suresh became more angry as the government prompted an inquiry. All of his projects were taken away from him. To take revenge on Mukesh, Suresh made a sinister plan. On 31st of December, Ritesh called Mukesh for a get-together, but as he was busy reporting, Mukesh didn't go to meet him. Ritesh again called him on 1st of January for a New Year party dinner, to which Mukesh agreed and reached their farmhouse, where in room number 11, Ritesh and his manager Mahindra Ram Teke had dinner with Mukesh. Then they severely beat him and dumped his body in the septic tank. After that, Ritesh left the scene while Dinesh and Mahindra removed all the evidence and cemented the septic tank to avoid suspicion. Mukesh's phones were smashed and thrown into the Tumna river to destroy evidence. 4 days before the incident, on December 27, Suresh had also withdrawn a huge amount of money from his bank account. Dinesh was arrested from the Bijapur hospital. He was the one who first confessed to all of this. Ritesh then boarded a flight to Delhi where he was nabbed by police, and Suresh was arrested in Hyderabad on January 5th with the assistance of Maharashtra, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh police. Suresh's wife is also in police custody. The crime scene was recreated twice to verify the confessions. Forensic teams also recovered critical evidence, including the murder weapon and blood-stained clothes. On January 3rd, Bijapur district authorities took a bulldozer to Suresh construction plant, Meanwhile, PWD had cancelled all the projects of Suresh and suspended his contractor's license after his arrest. The murder investigation also prompted goods and services tax raids on Suresh's residence. Mukesh's death also reignited debates about the financial and physical risk faced by independent reporters. His friend Dipankar Ghosh wrote, Mukesh was the personification of bravery, navigating a profession that often left him unsupported and vulnerable. Despite these challenges, Mukesh's work remains a testament to his courage and dedication. Mukesh Chandorkar's story is one of courage, resilience, and the unyielding pursuit of truth. It is a reminder of the price journalists often pay to hold power accountable. As we remember Mukesh, let's also remember the countless others who risked their lives in the name of truth. Their work is invaluable and their voices deserve to be amplified. Thank you for watching Crime Pod. If you found this story compelling, please like, share and subscribe. And most importantly, never stop questioning. Until next time, take care and stay safe.